and 5. Curry for the lead.
Bay.talk with Jay and Will, coolest podcast in the world. For to be a Warrior fan, you must hate them as well. Well, first and foremost, how's your week going, Will?
It's pretty good, not gonna lie. There's some BS going on right now in our community, specifically in the Bay Area.
Can you please let the viewers know who's being attacked right now?
Us.
Who's us?
The Asian community, specifically.
Yeah, mostly like elders, like Asian elders.
That's so fucked up, man.
I know, right?
I think 2 or 3 of them have died.
That's so crazy. That someone got robbed, or Asian, like, old man, like, he got robbed for like $15K at the bank.
I saw Asian grandma, she got robbed $1,000 for Chinese Lunar Year.
Oh my goodness.
Like, they stole, like, the envelope or whatever.
Such bad timing with, like, Chinese New Year coming out.
It's really dumb. So if you guys are listening to this and either you know someone that is Asian or you are Asian yourself, please spread awareness and not attack the other side, but just spread awareness.
Yep. My fellow Asians, just protect yourselves, you know, keep a taser, keep a pepper spray on you. And yeah, you know, protect our people.
Yeah, and just watch your surroundings and protect your parents and your grandparents.
Right. So we're gonna dive into the first game of the rodeo road trip in Texas, and it was against the Mavericks, where we won 147-116. Kelly Oubre had a vintage Valley Boy performance with 40, but honestly, we're like always questioning like his future with the Dubs, even though after he does good.
Right. Tsunami Poppy finally came out.
Right.
Lived up to the name. For that game, I mean, it really just shows what he really can do. If you really think about it, the only thing that's bad about him is his inconsistency with his outside shot. I don't want to hear that he can't slash. I don't want to hear that he can't play defense. Other than his shooting, he's a perfect fit for Golden State and this team.
I mean,
it's just...
he like... At least Oubre is pretty aggressive on offense, you know, unlike Wiggins, where I'd never see him dunk it.
Oubre is getting better, though. Would you agree? Like, compared to the first 2-3 weeks of the year, the last 2 weeks, in terms of his overall game, I think he's been actually a big step better than what he was in the beginning. And I don't think that it's fair that people are saying that we should, you know, just get rid of him after
trade him for Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick.
Right, when people don't even realize that next year, if we keep Oubre, we can have him come off the bench and he won't need to take as many shots and he could just be a defender slasher kind of player.
Yeah, Oubre's like our stock, you know, like we're investing in him right now for the future, and he would have a key role with the bench since he always runs good with our bench mob. He helps on defense, and as of right now, we're 7th in the league in defense.
3rd overall on defense for opponent field goal percentage, especially out on the perimeter. And that's Oubre's job and Wiggins' job to guard the best perimeter player on the other team.
Right. Even later on, Oubre will be like key on defense for in the playoffs, because that's kind of what we're waiting for with Oubre, to just really defense in the playoffs.
Would you agree that, because I've been saying this, Oubre probably could turn into our Iguodala guy, where he comes off the bench, guards the best player on the other team, and knocks down open threes and a couple dunks.
Right, because obviously next season it won't just be Curry scoring all the points. It'll be Clay too, so they need some rest to play on defense. So Kelly Oubre will come in, you know, and give the clamps.
Exactly, and he brings so much more to this team than just defense, man. Like, it's his energy, it's his positive vibes, it's his joy factor. You could tell he has so much fun with his antics, you know.
I mean, he is kind of arrogant when he blows kisses after he makes a 3.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you could tell after when he makes big shots, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, you're right. Like, he's just having fun out there, which players should be having fun for, you know, playing for their team. But we're going to talk about game 2 now, where Curry had 57. Pretty sure Luka had like 40 and triple-double monster game. You know, this level of play that Steph is playing at is like MVP level and is like one of his best seasons.
As of right now, Steph Curry is averaging 29.6 points per game. And he's actually playing a minute or two less than he was when he last won MVP. So not only is he MVP averaging pretty much the same amount of points, because in MVP year he averaged 30. Right now he's averaging 29.
Ooh.
And he's playing a minute or two less than he did. Not as crazy, but that's because he's not getting as many open looks because they're double teaming him. But this definitely is Steph's best year in the past 3 years.
Right. Like, I was comparing Steph and LeBron's past 5-game numbers. I mean, obviously, LeBron's on a 5-game winning streak, but he's, like, voted number 1. But Steph, he's been shooting, like, monster field goal, like 60% from 3 or something, like 50% on field goal. Of course, he's going to be, like, 100% on free throws, so.
The tear that Curry is on, people really don't know. And it's really stupid how, not to slander, like Luka, but it's really stupid how a lot of people put Luka in the top 3 ahead of Curry, and Curry's only ranked number 5.
The Mavs are currently 13th place.
I think in the past 7 days even, Steph Curry's averaging about 36 points a game. I know the 50-point game is dragging that up, but even then, in the past 5 games, Curry has never scored below 28 points in a game.
Yeah, because if he does do that, we're probably going to lose.
If the bench doesn't play good, then yeah, it's a guaranteed loss.
I feel like the Steph recognition is slowly creeping up. Like, I heard last night after the Spurs win, Shaq and D Wade were talking about Steph. Like, they love to watch him, so his stock is slowly increasing for MVP.
Really, at least they put him in the damn top 5.
I don't get, like, he does the same thing as like Dame and Trey, which is like one of my biggest fears, is that everyone in the NBA or watches the NBA, they're just comparing Steph to like Dame and Trey Young. Like, this dude is just different.
There's levels to this shit, and Steph Curry is proving it like right before our eyes. I mean, look at his last 3 games: 57, 32, and 32. This dude is scoring each and every way: 3-pointers, layups, making all his free throws damn near, passing, rebounding. He's rebounding so much this year, just like all of his other like MVP type years. Even his defense, he's averaging about a steal or right under a steal every single game.
Yeah. And like, in terms of Steph's offense, the gravity, like, he should get an assist for himself, because like the gravity that everyone has to double team him and then dish it to the free dunk, it's like crazy.
Have you noticed, what a hockey assist is, right? It's where you get like the pass to assist.
Yeah.
Dude, Steph Curry literally is like number 1 right now, maybe only behind like Draymond Green, because every time he comes off that pick, it's a double. He throws it into Draymond, and Draymond makes an easy kick out to Wiggins, Oubre, or a lob to Wiseman. And it's like, that was literally all generated by Curry getting double or even tripled at the top.
He just distracts like the whole team. Everyone's focused on him while there's another play going on. We're going to see how Steph does. If he's the 6th seed, I think we should root for him and at least get into top 3 conversation for MVP, because he's just, a GOAT amongst these players. It's like comparing, remember, like back then, LeBron and Melo. Like, we know who's the better player, right? Obviously, yeah. LeBron. So,
I mean, it's ridiculous. This year he has the opportunity to be in the 50-40-90 club again. Like, he's already done it multiple times before, and he's about to do it again.
Bro, I heard LeBron say that, like, oh, I can do it if I want to. Look at your freaking free throw percentage, bro. You are never gonna get that.
He can't even shoot in the mid-80s for a whole year. Like, there's no way. Forget 90. He can't even get past 85.
He can't even get past like 75. Like, he's just so bad at free throws. Like, stop talking. We're always gonna think that LeBron is the best player, but there's always gonna be other players like Steph, and he's in the same level, even though not the same record. Like, no one talks about his team being last place last year. Everyone just forgot about it, but everyone makes pitches for, KD's Achilles injury. Like,
Lillard already passing him up somehow.
For real, it's like everyone just makes the excuse for Steph, but once Steph like shows it, it's like, oh, everyone shuts up now. So now we're gonna dive into the Spurs series. And in game 1, they had a tough loss, which was 100-105. We had a lot of problems on offense with the 20 turnovers, refs making bad calls, white girl ref. Not to discriminate, girl refs. She could have been the same Super Bowl ref for the Bucks. And, shout out to Tom Brady for his 7th ring, even though that was like the worst Super Bowl ever. But 20 turnovers.
Again, not to discriminate against female refs, because it could have been any of the refs that could have been bad. We're just saying that it happened to be the one female one. Because you could tell, like, Spurs players, as soon as they realized that they had an isolation or any time that they knew they had the ball and the female ref was the ref that was closest to them, that had a good angle at them, they would flop, they would try to sell as much contact as possible, yell or whatever the case may be, anything to try to get that call. More times than not, they did get the foul, which was really annoying.
Pop in his little army lets his players know that like what's gonna happen like during the game, so they're already prepared. Like I'm always questioning Steve Kerr's like decisions as a coach. Like he feels like he's like the Spurs, right? Always trying to develop his players during a close game or like when they're down like 10. But it's like, why do you have to like always develop your players when you already have Steph?
I understand that, but I'm gonna actually kind of take on just a different perspective. But I understand like the frustration, because it's like we want to win as many games as possible because we already don't have Clay and Marquise and now James.
Yeah,
and
every
Boone
game counts in the West.
Yeah, because if you lose 2 games in a row, like you're pretty much out of the playoffs, or even you go down a couple spots. Even like it hurts to lose 2 games in a row. Even though we didn't, and we went 2-2 in these 4 games that we're talking about, I do appreciate that he understands that this year is just not the year to win the chip. So he's like, well, what we're gonna do is, yes, we want to win, and yes, we want to win as many games as possible. But at the end of the day, we have to prepare our guys. We have to prepare our bench and our guys that just haven't played with Steph. The Oubre, the Wiseman, JTAs, the Damian Lees, even Bazemore to some extent, because he's been gone for so long. You want to get as high seed as possible so we have an easiest amount of time in the playoffs and try to get to the second round. But I do understand where he's coming from, because he understands the long term. Because these guys, a lot of our team is very young. The real season is next year when we're, fully loaded. So I get it, but it still kind of sucks.
It always feels like Kerr is like up to like some evil plan or something, with like Looney being out, Wiseman being out. So it's like you have Toscano, who's, I don't know, power forward or center. Do you think that like Toscano is gonna be part of the death lineup?
I am happy you mentioned him. Toscano, ever since he's gotten back from his injury, he's been playing really, really good in terms of his defense, his IQ, his scoring, and not taking too many shots, but also not being afraid to shoot the ball.
Like his IQ has like risen like a lot, because like you see it in his post game, he seems like a really smart guy. He doesn't want to like go back to in the G League again. He wants to like stay with the Warriors. He's talking about like how great like playing with Steph is, and
he understands that he's learning from Draymond too.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen all of his off-ball cuts and, like, everything? It was really giving me flashbacks of, like, Ian Clark. Remember how many backdoor cuts and how many easy-ass layups he would get?
That's a great comparison.
Because Ian Clark, I'm not saying that Juan Toscano Anderson is the same as them, because I know they play different positions and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, like, every time they needed someone to move or cut without the ball or set that screen, that extra pass, or whatever the case may be, or even, knock down the corner 3, like both Ian and JTA have shown, like, and it's so good to see that he's developing.
Like, out of all the players, I wouldn't have expected him to come back.
No, me neither. I thought we were gonna go with Poole.
I thought we were gonna go with freaking Bowman.
Sky Bowman.
Bro, I'm so glad we went with Toscano and Damian Lee.
I do think eventually Toscano will be maybe a part of that, like, all defense lineup. Maybe not the death lineup specifically, but maybe the all defense lineup where it's like
the small ball lineup.
Or just like we have Steph out of the game and we need a stop against like the Nets or some shit where it's like Toscano, Wiggins, Oubre, Draymond, Wiseman.
Yeah.
It's like you just need a stop and you just have Steph out of the game for a couple possessions.
That would be really key at the end of the game. Like, that's a pretty damn good defensive lineup.
Like, maybe there's only 5 seconds left in the game and we're up by 1 and, we have to get a stop but we can't foul.
Well, we're still talking about game 1 and I believe the Warriors were down like 7 with like 6 minutes left. A lot of people were pretty mad that Kerr brought in Curry with only 6 minutes left. I mean, Curry still brought us in the game, but Warrior fans are always like getting pissed because, it's like so late. We always got to ask Curry to bail us out.
And I get it too, because sometimes I get a little antsy. I think he should come in at like the 7-minute mark.
Yeah.
Because then at least he would have an extra minute or two to like, do something. But again, that kind of goes back to my point. It's like Kerr and the Warriors and even Steph Curry and Draymond have admitted this too after the games. Like, this year is not our year, guys. Like, we have to stop acting like we're going to win the chip this year because we know we're not. We have to prepare our young guys and we have to make sure, one, Steph is healthy and doesn't get a season-ending injury when we're not even going to win the chip anyway. So we need to develop our young guys and we need to do so in a way that we can compete in all the games that we play, but we're not risking Steph and we're not, losing sight of next year's end goal, because this year we just trying to make the damn playoffs and get out of the first round.
Right.
So I'm okay with Steve Kerr doing it, but I definitely understand the impatience and the wanting of Steph to just, go in there and shoot a bunch of threes and try to bail us out. But,
I mean,
yeah.
Steph has to basically third quarter is all Steph. So I do see what you're coming from, because like Steph always has to go off in the third quarter in order for us to keep us in the game or have us catch back up.
Like we keep saying, it's like Steph against the world. It's like, yeah, on an all-star, like right now you give it to Steph, obviously, then it becomes really apparent when he's getting double team, triple team from like half court sometimes. But I will say our bench is developing like right now. Like our bench is doing so well in terms of just giving that extra punch. Like blowout game against the Mavericks, Oubre had 40 and other guys stepped up as well. And then the blowout game we're about to talk about against the Spurs, like Bazemore had a lot of points.
Yeah, Bazemore was knocking
Lee,
it down.
Eric Pascal's back. He's always averaging near 10. So I'm really not that worried. But I do understand the impatience factor and wanting Steph to go in there and just become MVP again and all that stuff. But you got to remember the end goal for next year, not this year.
So before we get into game 2 of the Warriors versus Spurs, so Curry brings us all the way back to make it a 3-point game. Can you tell us your thoughts on Dre's shot at the end of the game?
Okay, so I'm about to make all the casuals really upset right now.
Let them know.
But
Let them know why it shouldn't be on Shackton.
Obviously, it should be on Shackton because it was a bad shot. But for all the people who say that Draymond was trying to be Steph Curry, or Draymond was like, what the fuck is he thinking? Or that was a stupid play. But you got to understand, Draymond was not trying to hit the game winners like that. Like, are you serious? Draymond?
No, he would never do. He wouldn't even take the shot.
If you know Greg Popovich, you know he is one of the smartest coaches in the league to ever coach the game of basketball. So obviously we're down by 3. It was so obvious that if Draymond even touched the ball, that they wanted to foul Draymond specifically so that they can't put up a 3. So knowing that, Draymond, right as soon as he was about to get grabbed, he shot the ball so he can get 3 free throws and also stop the clock. But obviously Derek White did something really good. He reached out acting like he was going to foul, but then kind of pulled his hand back. I will say that Draymond did pull the trigger way too quick.
Yeah.
And should have waited till he got grabbed and then threw it up. But then at the same time, you have to understand where he's coming from. Did you see that quote that he said? Like, I was trying to make a smart play, but ended up looking really dumb.
I didn't really like that quote, to be honest. I mean, I see what he was trying to do, get the 3 free throws. But I think a lot of people are mad about that. Like, even if he does shoot the free throw, is he going to make 3 of them? Probably not. We have no timeout.
Exactly. And then he missed 2 free throws before that.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
I am mad that it happened that way. But I'm also not going to knock Draymond and say it was all your fault that we lost. Because we had 20 turnovers in the whole game. Like, we shouldn't have been in that position anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that people are saying, like, Draymond doesn't have any IQ, or Draymond doesn't know what he's doing, or, like, Draymond's sold. It's like, on that specific play, yes. But honestly, he shouldn't have been in that position anyway, because we should have been winning the game. But because we had 20 turnovers, we weren't.
There's a lot of factors and variables to it. That just goes to show, like, for like anyone that wants to hire their IQ for like a basketball game or at the end of the game, like, you got to watch out for that now.
People be doing that now because they know if Steph or anyone gets a look for a 3, they can either get a foul or make the shot or get a 4-point play from like 30 feet out.
Right.
So it's possible, but it sucks it ended that way. But I'm not too mad at that shot. Like, to be completely real, understanding the context. Now, for people just watching the highlights, you probably are pissed. But if you're those kind of people, you're just a damn casual and you don't really know the game of basketball. So
as a Warrior fan, it just stings to get one of those losses again where you should have won the game and it just got freaking taken away from us.
We beat ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, those hurt for sure.
All right, so we're gonna talk about game 2, our bounce back game against the Spurs. Curry had 32. I didn't really get to see the first half, but I know he had that ridiculous Michael Jordan-esque layup, reverse. Wasn't that thing crazy?
Bro, I literally said, dude, that was Jordan-esque. In the way that we're not the way where it's he's hanging in the air forever, but that wasn't a double clutch. That was a triple clutch. That dude wasn't even looking at the basket. He was staring right at his teammates on the bench and flipped it over his shoulder.
Seeing that reminded me of when D Wade was making all those circus shots.
Oh yeah, I do remember he used to do that every game.
Reverse. Not even looking at the basket, just some crazy reverse shot, bank it in.
That was like the Allen Iverson one where I forgot what team he was on. He might have been on Denver, but he like looked behind him and like had it cocked over his head and then just like threw it up and went in.
Oh, right. Like, didn't he like hang in the air like
Yeah,
for a
he
little
was
bit?
like he was like kicking his legs everywhere. He in slow motion.
Yo,
That's what it reminded me of.
AI was crazy. What do you think Kerr did differently this game with his decisions?
Just kept him in the game by like telling him like, hey man, like last game it wasn't Draymond's fault necessarily because it was the turnovers that killed us. Even though yes, we would have liked to have Steph taken that shot and not Draymond, you know, shoot it and maybe wait till he got grabbed then to shoot it to try to draw the foul.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, it was the turnover. So, you know, this game, first game we had like 20 turnovers. This game we only had 10. That was way better.
Yeah,
and then,
definitely.
you know, when we don't beat ourselves and when we move the ball and when everyone gets a touch and everyone's locked in on defense and we're not overthinking, but we're not also too stagnant as well. Like, bro, we could beat anybody as long as we could compete, especially for this season. That's huge. Just the fact that we can compete in every game, no matter who we play.
Right. I mean, with the Spurs, it like feels like a scrimmage, you know. We have our system and then they have their system. So that's how I feel like after the Spurs series. It's kind of cool.
Right.
It's like
but
a
then,
high school
you know,
scrimmage.
yeah, it's just like an easy, like, oh, we're pretty much going to get most of what we want.
Yeah.
Just watch out for DeJounte and then just move the ball.
Yeah, we definitely locked down DeJounte this game. He was a monster in the first one.
Yeah, he hit that tough ass shot in that first game. That was nuts.
I want to make a point that like I feel like Draymond is a little bit too much of a playmaker. I mean, I know we need him to like give assists and like to Oubre and Wiggins. I feel like sometimes he just always has the ball, you know?
Well, yeah, he is the initiator now. To his credit, though, that dude is crazy. You know how many double-digit assist games he's had in the past like couple weeks or couple games?
Dude, he had like back-to-back 15 assist games.
So last night he had 11 assists, 7 rebounds.
Holy crap.
I mean, that dude is literally the damn floor general.
I don't even know like what to describe him. Is he like a football player or like a soccer player? It's like he doesn't even play basketball, but obviously it is basketball. It's such a weird role he plays. He like reads like the defense as he's running through the lane, and then once he sees that everyone's playing on top of him, he just goes straight to the basket for the layup. It's like, or he brings the defense to the paint and then kicks it out to like Wiggins in the corner, gives it to Curry.
Right, or like the Wiseman lob, or they do that little split action they do. I love that play. Draymond's in the post. JTA, Looney, or Oubre set a screen for Steph to come onto the wing.
Yeah,
that little post initiation.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that play is deadly as hell because
you just got so much going on around you.
If Draymond has a smaller guy, he can bully him, little 2-foot hook, or obviously he finds Steph coming off the screen for a 3, or Oubre or JTA. If they double team Steph, they have them cutting down the lane, and it's like, oh my god, he's literally got like 3 or 4 options right in front of him, and the defense can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, as much as people like hate on Draymond, they think he's like the most overrated. He's so underrated as a basketball player.
Super underrated.
I hate when people like try to slander him for anything, especially for that shot he tried to do in the first Spurs game.
Right.
You know,
they don't know the context of anything.
No, they just see one play. Like one bad play he does, and then they think he's such like a bad player.
It was the defense and the less turnovers. Now I do want to address one thing though. They have not had LaMarcus Aldridge for a while, which really hurts them. But even in the first game when they did have Aldridge, didn't we win by like 30?
Yeah, we smacked them. Like that was such an easy.
That
was like the best win of the season.
It was honestly one of the most forgettable games of the year because it was so easy.
Right. Let's give our final thoughts. What do you think is going to be the game plan against the Nets with Kyrie, Harden, and KD?
So according to reports, KD will be back Friday. I don't know who they play, but we play them Saturday. So unless something crazy happens, best believe they will be fully locked and loaded. I honestly think that they should just play them like they do the Lakers, where it's like make KD, Kyrie, and Harden take all the shots. Do not let the other guys get hot. Because, you know, like with LeBron, if you let the other guys get hot and it's like the fourth quarter and it's like, yeah, you might be winning or up by 1 or whatever. As soon as LeBron starts taking the ball and getting going, now he's got Caruso hot, Kuzma hot, Caldwell Pope hot. You have so many different weapons, and then you have LeBron. You have to make KD, Kyrie, and Harden carry the whole offense, and then also attack them. Jarrett Allen is gone. So it's like
It's
Karis
DeAndre.
LeVert is-
We gotta outrun him.
Yeah. Karis LeVert is also gone. So that bench, they have to be in attack mode, really. Like, for sure. I'm not saying Karis LeVert is a defender or anything. I'm just saying that extra punch for them is gone.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys literally have to just take it to their throat and not be scared of them and make KD and Kyrie and Harden have to try to save the day, you know, and they have no help.
My worst fear for that game is like getting Joe Harris hot.
I know. It's like, what if like Joe Harris gets hot? Or what if like
Timothy, fucking
Cabarro?
yeah. Oh my goodness. That's probably the game plan. You know, just outrun the Nets. Make Kyrie, KD, and Harden just go to work.
Obviously, you want to stop them, but I don't think you should be like doubling them. Like I said, if you get their other weapons hot, it's like not only do you got to worry about KD, Kyrie, and Harden, but then it's like Joe Harris hit 3 threes, Landry Shamet might be hot, Jeff Green might be contributing. Like, you don't want all those guys to all of a sudden become a threat, and then you got to worry about the 3 best like one-on-one players in the league.
We gotta see like what happens with Kerr's game plan. I feel like he's gonna try to pull something out his fucking
Right.
pocket or whatever. I mean, with the Magic, obviously easy dub. We just played the Spurs. You know, Spurs always prep us for whoever's next. One final thought. I want to give a special shout out to our guy D Rose. We're finally getting out of shitty ass, not shitty, but you know, Detroit. I mean, they're a shitty team, but he's on the Knicks now. I'm pretty sure he killed his first game with them.
He did. So I personally have Derrick Rose on fantasy right now. The dude isn't having such a great offensive year because, you know, he's been resting and having a lot of, because he was on the Pistons, so it was tough for him to just get anything going since he doesn't really have any weapons or help, you know, and he's not the old D Rose. But being on the Knicks, shout out to Tom Thibodeau for really like
Bro,
that,
brought back the gang. Just bring the whole gang back together.
Being like that fatherly figure to him, picking him up off the streets, like wherever he was in Cleveland or Detroit,
I know.
whatever. So I've actually seen what a lot of Knicks fans are saying, because I actually legitimately like the New York Knicks just because I love New York City and I've always been interested in the players that have popped in and out of that and for that franchise. Shout out any people from New York watching this.
Shout out the bodegas and all the dead ass. I don't know. I'm just saying slang, but
we gonna make a trip to Soho one of these days.
Facts. I mean, I miss old Soho. You know, the fashion game was killing it over there, but now it's all gentrified.
Derrick Rose only played 20 minutes that game and he had 14 points. I think he had like 3 assists. So I was like, damn, first game in 20 minutes too. So he didn't even play half the game and he already had double digits and 3 assists.
Yep, we're always going to be rooting for our guy D-Rose. We didn't want him to go to the Knicks. We want him to go to the Clippers, but Knicks are at least a playoff team than the freaking Pistons.
People are saying like it's a dumb trade and all that stuff, but it's like, dude, they literally gave up Dennis Smith Jr., who wasn't doing jack shit for them for the past like 2 years.
Such a steal, bro. Like any of these contending teams could have got him, but nope, they couldn't give up shit for him.
People forget, like, it's not including this year, but the past 2 years, Derrick Rose is averaging over 18 points a game, and he's not even playing starter minutes. So
he was snubbed last year.
Bro,
In Chicago. Are you kidding me?
He got a lot of votes. He's got a lot of votes right now. I think right now he's ranked 6th or 7th in East All-Star guards, which is really nice.
To be honest, I don't even know if the All-Star game is like happening.
Do you think the Knicks are a playoff team? Because I think they are. They're the best defensive team in the league, and now that they got a 6-man and D Rose, I think they have what it takes to make it, at least in the East, because the East is kind of whack after the 6th seed.
I think they do. Like, D Rose was like their missing piece, especially for scoring. Like, it's not going to be just Randall or Barrett trying to score all the points. Now they got a third scorer in D Rose.
Now it's like they got Mitchell Robinson pick and roll, Julius Randle pick and roll, you know, drive it and then dish it to Barrett for a dunk. Yeah. Like, they got a lot more shit now because it's like, plus if you just give the ball to D Rose, like, he'll make something work. Like, he's one of the most creative offensive players we've seen in the past like 10 years, 15 years.
Hey, don't sleep on D Rose. He's not done yet. Nets and Knicks first round?
Knicks can get 1 game because, you know, they don't really be trying in the first round. So they lose that first game and then they wake up and get and then freaking like Lakers, they lose 1 game and like, all right, like, it's time to get up.
Yep.
They really hate Elfrid Payton. And I was looking at his numbers. Like, people say Oubre is inconsistent. Dude, Payton, dude, oh my God. Like, he'll play like 30 minutes in a game. I saw like 2 weeks ago or last week. He had like a 3-game stretch where he didn't score more than 6 points or something.
Holy
or like
crap.
8 points.
How is that your starting point guard?
Literally just gets a couple steals, a couple rebounds, and like 4 or 5 assists. And then like
Knicks be always shooting some scrub guard. Raymond Felton or like Pablo Prigioni.
You all literally had a young Jeremy Lin and y'all got rid of him. Like, he was worth nothing, and he was your best point guard, and you all didn't re-sign him.
Facts. Like, shout out Jeremy Lin. He had his first G League game today. I think he did pretty good. I heard Poole did pretty good in that G League game.
It's funny you mentioned that. So today marks 9 years ago, Jeremy Lin had 38 points on the Los Angeles Lakers on Kobe Bryant.
That's crazy. I just watched that like a couple of days ago.
We'll have an episode about like underrated players, and best believe he's gonna be in there. So
right. Well, that's episode 5 for y'all. Special number. That's a lucky number for me because my favorite player of all time, besides Steph, obviously unanimous, Baron Davis.
Shout out BD.
Bro, the beard, the
You sure
original
like the same?
beard. Well, yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope you guys liked this podcast. We love the Warriors. We're going to keep supporting them, even though we freaking hate Kerr's decision sometimes, but we're always going to ride with them.
We know that this year is not really going to be the year, but it's going to be the transition year. Would you agree?
Yep, this is another transition year. It just is what it is. But at least we're into playoff contention. 6 is best case scenario for me. All right, that's a wrap, y'all. We'll see you on the next pod.
Peace out.